Hashem Naaseh v'Natzliach, Shiur Torah. We are back on Sunday. Our questions and answers shiur. We have Baruch Hashem, lots of good feedback from last week's shiur. People liked learning a little bit of musar about saying thank you. Maybe we'll, B'ezrat Hashem, go over some more things about it. There's couple of subjects that I learned that very, very interesting. More about the gratitude, which I think is something that we simply don't know how to do. And then also something about Kedusha also as well. So Hashem, we'll see what we're going to go over. There's, Baruch Hashem, a lot of material. Shiur today will be also for Ilui Nishmat David ben Mas'uda. Refuah Shlema to David ben Nasriya, Viola bat Jora, Doris bat Jora, Levana bat Sarah, Yochevet bat Batya, Elisheva Chaya bat Sarah, Dvora bat Mercedes, and I'm forgetting somebody. I forgot to write the name. Chaya bat Sarah? Michael bat? Oh, Michael ben Leah Sarah. No, but there was also another name that I forgot to write down. Mechila. Peseder, B'ezrat Hashem, I have her in my mind. I just forgot to write the name. Peseder, B'ezrat Hashem. Hashem will knows our intentions, B'ezrat Hashem, and will give refuah shlema, refuat nefesh, refuat guf. So since this is called the questions and answers shiur, hopefully you guys have some questions. Last couple of times you had a couple of questions, but still there's 500 more questions after this shiur than before the shiur. So does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Okay.
Moshe benefited from the river which the Egyptians worshipped as an avodah zarah, and then he was grateful to it by not eating it himself. What is that supposed to mean?
Well, I mean, the gratefulness I'll go over later, because it has to do more with the shiur, I think. But the river itself you can't turn an entire ocean to avodah zarah. Just like you can't just say, okay, from now on, the entire Atlantic Ocean is my idol, therefore Am Yisrael can never use it again. It's usually, as far as avodah zarah, it's something that's limited to a specific, size, space, some type of inanimate object that they created, not something that Hashem created. So it's the creation's creation. So it's in essence the reason why Hashem considers, for example, avodah zarah the worst of the worst, in the same category as, for example, someone that violates Shabbat, is because the Creator is everything. The Zohar Kadosh says, "En od milvado," literally means there's nothing really else other than Him. Meaning all of the creation is technically part of the Creator. There's really nothing else. But that's hard to say and impossible to really understand, that really in reality there's nothing else but Him, meaning even us, even we are part of Him. We understand that a certain part of us is from Him. It's that He put into Adam Rishon, but even the other aspects of it are the creation. The creation is part of the Creator. Either way, the Creator Himself, that's all good, that created everything, all He asks you to do is to serve Him. Simply. He created you, didn't have to, doesn't owe you anything, and in reality we owe Him everything. And even beyond us giving Him everything, we still owe Him more. And the only thing that He really asks from us is to serve Him in accordance to what He said, not accordance to what we say. If you're serving him according to what you say, then that means nothing. That means you're serving yourself. If you're serving him according to what he said, that means something. So when somebody does not serve him, already that's a spit in his face. When somebody not only doesn't serve him, but serves a false god, serves something else, serves Jesus, serves Buddha, serves their own ego, serves nothing, that person is the worst of the worst. Why? Because they've taken everything, instead of serving everything, instead of serving Hashem Yitbarach, they not only are serving nothing, they're serving something less than nothing, which is the creation's creation. So if, let's say, for example, a person, was, serving Hashem, that's one thing. A person that's not serving Hashem is a different thing. But a person that's serving something that he himself created, either by buying it or by, manipulating it into reality, building it or something like that, then in essence, that thing becomes, if you will, their creation. Even though we can't really create anything from nothing, we have to use his creation in order to create. Still, we've created a false god, which means that we've taken the tools of Hashem Yitbarach and used it against him. It's like, for example, somebody takes in the army, says, "Let me borrow your gun for a second." He borrows the gun and then he shoots the guy. There's no bigger criminal, moral criminal than such a person. I know sometimes they show it in the movies and things like that. People say it and they think, "Oh wow, well, he's so clever." No, it's not clever. There's no worse moral act than to use somebody else's tool in order to hurt him. Even more so when it comes to Hashem. So when a person goes and takes the tools that Hashem gave him just to make another god, there's no one that's more detestable and despised by Hashem than that person. Unfortunately, many of our brothers and sisters put themselves in that same class when they violate Shabbat. Because Hashem asked in Gemara Masechet Shabbat, it says that Hashem says to Moshe, "Go tell Am Yisrael that I have a big present for them in my treasure chest. And the name of this present is Shabbat." And Gemara from there teaches us that anytime a person wants to give a present to his fellow, he has to announce it. He has to tell him he's giving him a present. Don't give him a surprise. Tell him you're giving him a present. Hashem told Am Yisrael through Moshe Rabbeinu, "I'm going to give them a present. The name of this present is Shabbat." So, in essence, what Am Yisrael was supposed to do is accept it, enjoy it, feel a part of Olam Haba through it. That's what we're supposed to do till this day. The problem is that part of the keeping Shabbat is that a person that keeps Shabbat is acting as a witness to creation. Now, nowhere in the Torah does it say, "I am God that created the world." It doesn't say that. What does it say? "I am God, I'm your God that took you out of Egypt." Why does it say, "I'm your God that took you out of Egypt"? Why doesn't it say, "I'm God that created the world"? The reason is because creating the world, no one was a witness. No one was there. There was nothing before he created it. Other than him, there's nothing else. So you can't say, "Oh yeah, you created the world. Yeah, I'll just take you, I believe you because, somebody told me." You can't. You have to take his word for it. You have to take his word for it. But Egypt, millions of people witnessed it. Not only Am Yisrael that you can say are technically biased. You also see that there's actually outside parties, unbiased parties, that reported it. And Josephus and others reported what was actually happening at the time, even though some of these journalists were rooting against the Jews. They were Egyptian journalists. Meaning the CNN was reporting that the Israelis are doing something good in the world. It's like Mashiach might as well come. Mashiach might as well come. CNN's reporting Am Yisrael is doing something good. Mashiach came already. Just saying it is hard. So that's what happened in Mitzrayim. Millions and millions of people witnessed that Hashem Yitbarach took Am Yisrael out of Egypt because it couldn't be anything else. Nowhere in history has it ever happened before or ever happened after or will ever happen again that Hashem turned an entire civilization of slaves into the master. It never happened before, it never happened after. Now, some places had slavery, be abolished or freed, some escaped, and so on and so forth. But no one ever became the master. The best case scenario, they were freed. The best case scenario, and it was bodedim, just a few here and there. Oh, you know what? I feel bad for you after I tortured you and killed your wife, killed your kids, chopped a few arms off. You know what? Go free, go free. Can't walk, the guy, poor guy. Tell him to go free. Where's he going to go? He can't go to the bathroom by himself. Go free. The guy felt bad. That's one guy, two guys, 100, 200 guys you freed. Or they sold them, or so on. Shem Echem, what they did to people. But to say that the slaves turned into a master, if you heard a story like that, if you heard, it's a fairy tale and it's only one person. But never in history was it ever an entire civilization. Here we have millions of witnesses that an entire civilization turned from being slaves and into masters. So this, Hashem says, you were witnesses to it. The Goyim were witnesses to it. Everybody was a witness to it. But just like you were witness to something that you saw, keeping Shabbat is something that you have to also do. Why? Because you realize that I'm God. You realize that nobody else could have saved you. You realize that this was Maaseh Eloki. This was a divine intervention into the world. This wasn't some type of super strong person. It was supernatural. So, just like you saw the miracles that I brought into the world, there was just as many miracles to create the world, even more so. So, by keeping Shabbat, you're testifying that as a witness that I created the world. So when a Jew violates Shabbat by driving on Shabbat or playing on the internet on Shabbat or smoking a cigarette and cooking or working on Shabbat and does one of the 39 restrictions in the Torah, on Shabbat, that person in essence is saying to Hashem, the Gemara says, he's screaming in the middle of the street at Hashem, saying to him, I don't believe you created the world. I don't believe you. Not only not witness. Not a witness, let's say he's violate Shabbat beseter. He's hiding. He's smoking a cigarette at home. But nobody knows he even smokes. Nobody knows he smokes. Nobody knows he's on TV. But the guy that drives to shul, or the guy that smokes cigarettes, and everybody knows he chain smokes. Everybody knows he smokes on Shabbat. Even if he smokes at home by himself, but everybody knows he smokes on Shabbat. Everybody knows he goes on the internet on Shabbat. Everybody knows that he works on Shabbat. They don't need to see it. 10 people know. That's already considered pharesia, meaning a public sin, which makes that person detestable in the eyes of Hashem, to such an extent that that person is considered as if he's running in the middle of the street, advertising and yelling like in a big billboard to Hashem, I don't believe you created the world, and he's trying to take other people to follow him. So, everyone can understand that idolatry is disgusting. It's disgusting to Hashem. It should be disgusting to anyone that's intellectually honest. It also should be disgusting to anyone that has morals. Anyone that has an inkling of positive character traits within them should be disgusted by this. But very few people are disgusted by Mechalel Shabbat. Most people have no problem with them. Most people have no problem with the sin either. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and start beating up Mechalel Shabbat, because that would mean that you would have to beat up all of us in the past. That's not what Hashem wants. The Gemara in Masechet Brachot says you have to hate the sin and not the sinner. You have to hate the sin and not the sinner. So, if you know that you have a certain relative or friend that violates Shabbat, and he simply does not view it as disgusting, he doesn't think that that's disgusting, send him this shiur. Maybe he'll understand that what he's doing is disgusting. It's not just bad as far as it's a sin that he doesn't even understand the magnitude of. It's disgusting. It's in the same level as idol worship. And we'll talk more about why it's disgusting even more so later on, unless you guys have no questions. Anything else? Yeah?
I heard a question a couple times over Shabbat. Why was 10 makos? Why such a variation of makos? Obviously, some Torah should move over to heaven, you should move over to
Why did he pick the number 10, you're asking?
Well, that too.
Or why each makkah?
Yeah, like why so many different types?
Oh, we have I think at least one, maybe two entire shurim about the midah keneged midah, the measure for measure of each one of the makot. We would have to do an entire shiur just on that because each makkah had significance. I'll give you a slight example just to give you a taste of what it looks like. So first and foremost, we have measure for measure, and we also have everything is for the good. So there's certain principles, just like you have gravity that people know about. That's a law of nature. Hashem created nature. That's why Elohim and nature, Ateva, have the same numerical value, 86. So there's certain rules that we know of, gravity, and other aspects of the physical world. But there's also other rules that Hashem runs the world with. One of them is that everything that He does has to be the best. That we learned from Rabbi Akiva at the end of Masechet Brachot. And number two, that everything works off of measure for measure. Midah keneged midah. So the plague of blood was given, Chachamim say, because the Egyptians did a few things. One of them is that they didn't give water to the Jews to drink. You didn't give my Jews to drink, therefore I'm going to make you thirsty. Why? Because they couldn't drink anything other than blood on their own. If let's say, for example, there was 1 cup of water, 1 straw the Jew has, 1 straw the Egyptian has, the Jew will suck out water, the Egyptian will suck out blood. It literally would transform on the spot. Because, of course, they tried stealing the Jewish water, and when the Jew was drinking, it was beautiful water, crystal clear, $5 a bottle of water. The Egyptian, blood, Shem Menachem. Smelly, disgusting blood. So he stole his water, turns to blood. Same cup, turns to blood. The trees, turned to blood. The walls were bleeding. Everything that had water in it that belonged to the Egyptians had blood. Everywhere there was blood. So that was a disaster of itself. So how could they survive? So Hashem gave them a way to survive. How? They can buy the water. They can buy the water, and that is actually one of the ways that Hashem fulfilled the promise that He made to Avraham Avinu, which He said to Avraham Avinu that when your children, after they're slaves for the Egyptians for over 400 years, they're eventually going to be freed and they're going to be rich. So one of the ways that Hashem made Am Yisrael rich is by actually the fact that they sold the water. They sold their water to the Egyptians. Anytime the Egyptians tried stealing it or beating them up for it, it turned back to blood. But if they paid for it, then it stayed as water. And that's actually one of the ways that Am Yisrael became very, very wealthy by the time they left Egypt. So we see, on one end, midah keneged midah, where they didn't give them water. Another aspect of it, we also see that there is good out of this, that we actually made money out of it. Became very, very wealthy. And this is just a small token to every single makkah. Every single plague that we had in Egypt would require an entire shiur just about it. And since we already talked about it on the internet, a couple of shiurim, I think it's better that we go over other things. What else? As far as the 10 number, there's a specific pasuk. Hashem says that I'm going to do it just to show my glory, and that you're going to remind your children's grandchildren of how I mocked the Egyptians. Not I just destroyed them, I mocked them. I made fun of them. Why? Because it's a mitzvah to make fun of idol worship. It's a mitzvah from the Torah. Anytime you see somebody making fun of JCPenney, Jesus, the falsianity, all the funny names, people take offense to it. Oh, it's not nice. You call Christianity these things. You're a fool. It's a mitzvah from the Torah. It's a mitzvah from the Torah to make fun of Christianity. Same thing with all other religions. Any religion that's not Judaism is considered to be some form of idolatry, with the exception of Islam. Islam, Rav Ovadia Alav Shalom, said it's not idolatry, and he pasak after the Rambam. Rambam also said it's not idolatry. The origination of Islam started with idolatry, but not today. Anyway, the point is that you have yourself a beautiful Torah that shows you how every single one of the natures, every single one of the character traits of Hashem can be proven through each one of these plagues, can be proven through each one of these parashot. And one of the main things that we see in this parasha is something very, very strange. We see that when Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu to bring the plague, he does something different on the first 3 plagues than he did for the next 7. What did he do? He says, "Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, emor el Aaron, kach matecha unetei yadecha al mimei Mitzrayim, al na'arotam, al yorem ve'al agmehem ve'al kol mikve mimehem ve'yu dam, ve'yad dam bechol eretz Mitzrayim u'be'etzim u'ba'avanim." So in chapter 7, verse number 19, Hashem says to Moshe, "Say to Aaron, take your staff and stretch out your hand over the water of Egypt, over their rivers, over their canals, over their reservoirs, and over all of the waters of Egypt, over all of the gatherings of water, and they shall become blood." So Hashem says to Moshe, first plague, tell Aaron to do it. Tell Aaron to do it. Now everyone knows the Midrash and the Limud that Moshe didn't want to hit the ocean. And the same thing happened with the second and third plague, where he didn't want to hit the ground because he owed him gratitude. He owed him gratitude. But we have a couple of serious questions about this. Number one, what do you owe him gratitude for? What, are they going to get sad? The river, the ocean is going to get upset? He's going to start crying that you didn't say thank you? That you turn him into blood? What is he going to write? Negative emails, negative review, 1-star rating on Facebook? What is he going to do? What is he going to do? What's the river going to do? Okay. Second of all, how did he protect you? Chazal says he didn't drown him. The river didn't drown Moshe. What, is it the nature of rivers to drown people? Is that what they were created for, to drown people? No. What, did he make extra effort not to drown him? Technically, the miracle with Moshe was the smallest one of all. Why? Because at the time, the Egyptians, Imach Shimam, they took the babies, the Jewish babies. If it was a boy, they threw him into the water so he drowns and dies. But Hashem miraculously made sure not a single baby died. All of them were saved. Hashem took them to a different place and fed them, and they came back home. The Midrash Me'am Loeh says when they were 3 years old. Not a single baby died. Threw them into the water, but they didn't die. Meaning that even if the Egyptians tried to drown the babies, they wouldn't succeed. So Moshe was not thrown into the water by himself. He had a nice teva, a nice little jacuzzi over there. There's a fridge on the right. It's a comfortable place. It was a ship. He had a nice little ship there. I think he even had a captain maybe. So, Be'emet, putting all joking aside, what is it more difficult? To survive in the teva, in a little basket, or learn how to swim at 1 day old? What's harder? You're already 3 months old, you're in a teva, congratulations, what's the problem? The other one just born 2 seconds ago, and they threw him into the water. What's harder? It's harder to be the 1 day old. That's a bigger miracle that he survived. So what's Moshe saying? Thank you, thank you, thank you. What's thank you? The other question is, same applies obviously to the ground. Ground, they say that the ground, he used it to bury the Egyptian. The Egyptian that he killed after he saw the Egyptian hitting the Jew. And he saw that the Egyptian wasn't doing good, and he killed him. Said Shema Meforash, to the name of Hashem, and the Egyptian died on the spot, and then he buried him in the ground, and he's saying thank you to the ground to allow him to bury the guy. Technically, that's what the ground's for. to bury stuff. Which, as a side note, you should know, that's why we take the orla, when you do a brit milah, you take the orla, the foreskin, and you bury it in the ground. As a token to the ground, and tell her, don't worry, we're coming back soon. It's a reminder to the ground, but it also should be a reminder for us. Don't worry, what? Maximum 70, 80, 90, 120 years, I'm back. I'm coming back. That's what it is. We take the orla, brit milah, I'll be back soon. Everybody built houses, built 401ks, has plans to have a bank account big enough for 15 generations, even though they don't know anybody yet. They don't have one kid yet. They have a dog. You told the ground you were 8 days old, I'll be back soon. So the ground is there to bury stuff. He's saying thank you. You show him appreciation, gratitude to the ground. That's why I don't want to turn the ground into lice. The Midrash says that each one of the lice was the size of a chicken egg. And it was 6 feet, meaning that there was no way for anyone to avoid it. You were drowning. The Egyptians were drowning in these lice. Moshe said thank you. Moshe, it's very nice of you to say thank you, but for what? Is the ground going to send a hate mail if you don't say thank you? Is the ground going to get upset? Did the ground make any effort to hide the Egyptian, or did it just bury a couple of billion people a few generations before you, the generation of Noah? What's the big deal? You buried one Egyptian. He was a Rasha anyway. Ground probably wanted to swallow him anyway. The last question, Abotai, that we have to answer is, it says that Moshe Rabbeinu felt bad. If Moshe Rabbeinu felt bad, why does the pasuk itself, say, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Emor el Aaron, meaning that it wasn't really, the pasuk says that it wasn't really Moshe's decision to not hit the ocean, the river. Hashem told him, go tell Aaron to hit the ocean. If Hashem said to Moshe, go hit the ocean, go hit the river, and Moshe says, no, Hashem, I feel bad. I owe gratitude to this river. Let me go tell Aaron. Hashem says, okay, that we have a different pasuk. Moshe tell Aaron, fine. But now we have a problem. Why? Because here it's Hashem is giving the instructions to Aaron through Moshe. So in reality, what we see here is that Hashem decided. Hashem decided, Moshe, don't hit the ocean. Don't hit the ground. Same thing with the ground. Same thing. Don't do it. Tell Aaron to do it. Why? Anybody have a hint of an idea? Humble is good, but what does that have to do with not hitting the ocean?
Hashem knows our intention. He knows if Moshe is faithful or not.
Okay, so let's go with this argument that both of you said that Hashem knows the beautiful nature of Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu wants to say thank you to the river, thank you to the ground, to the nice sand. But then we're back to the original question. What are you saying thank you for? Is the ground going to complain to Hashem? Is the river going to complain to Hashem? Did any one of you speak to the river on the way here? Tell me the truth. Did you spoke to the river? What did it say? Is it Jewish? Ma? No. Interesting, but no. It's interesting, but no connection.
That is only if gratitude is only based on the complaint of the person going to do. But one still has to be grateful to someone whether or not we're expecting him to complain.
But we're not. Okay, I like what you're saying. Baruch shekivanta, you're in the right direction. You're saying that someone should say thank you with or without somebody caring whether they say thank you. Okay, but doesn't that assume that someone can talk?
Not necessarily.
Why? So you're gonna say thank you to the chair when you leave?
People sometimes say.
People, there's a mental institution of a lot of people saying thank you, and they're talking to the wall. One time, a guy goes to a mental institution to visit to see what's going on over there, and he sees one guy say bracha, 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 bracha. He says, what's bracha? What happened to this guy? He goes, oh, this guy, poor guy. He wanted to marry some woman named Bracha. She didn't want to marry him. He's scared. The guy lost his mind. Ooh, misken, broken heart, lost his mind. Ishtabach shimo. What can you do? Broken heart. He goes to the next room. Sees the same thing. Bracha, 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 bracha. He goes, what happened to him? He goes, oh, he's the guy that married her. He's the guy that married her. Slow laugh. He has a slow wake up. Maybe a third joke. You know how hard I worked on this joke? It's harder than this shiur. So, I like what you're saying, that you have to be grateful. You have to be grateful with or without the other person caring, but that's assuming there's a person. That's assuming there's a person. Why are you going to say thank you to the chair? Why would you say thank you to the building? Why would you say thank you to the ground? Why would you say thank you to a bed? Why? You're up, down, up, down. So I'm getting seasick from the up and down arm. Okay, in the back. Hashem's creation, okay. Why should I say thank you to it then? Okay.
Well, given that we know Hashem, when Hashem created everything, there's an angel ruling over each creature. Would that be thankful to the angel that allowed you to?
Thankful to the angel. It actually does say in the Gemara that every strand of grass has an angel right next to it saying to it, grow. Every strand of grass. Not all of the grass you have on your lawn. Every one of them, every line has a separate angel looking, grow, kappa, grow, 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 all day. Imagine how many angels are there. So if you're going to start saying thank you to every single angel, you're not going to have time to learn Torah. But you guys are in the right direction. Let's go into, unless somebody has any other new insight. No? You have something? Because? Right, that we know that the water saved him as a baby, but if he says thank you to the water, doesn't that assume that the water can say, you're welcome? The water should respond, you're welcome, but the water can't respond. It's water. I mean, Amos said he talked to the water on the way here, but then he took it back. He says, no, because I asked him if it's Jewish. He doesn't know, so he's not sure if he talked to it or not. But the reality is, water is supposed to say thank you, you're welcome, no? I'm already saying thank you to the water. Better say you're welcome. And the first guy in history say thank you to water. Second, Moshe said first. But anyway, no, somebody said welcome. No, but Bemet, all joking aside, this Musar Rabotai Yekarim is going to teach us how much more work we have to do. You're all in the right direction, though. You're all in the right direction, which shows actually you have good neshamot. But we have to go into the source. We have to go deep into the source. The minds of Chazal Akdoshim, Chachmenu Zichronam Livracha. The wisdom of Chazal is something that's beyond comprehension, because you can think about this question until you're blue in the face. And you're not going to get what they said. Now, after I say it, you're going to say, no, of course I knew this. I was going to get to it. Give me 5 more minutes, I was going to get to it. Why? Because it's in you. You know it. The Malach taught it to you when you were in the stomach. The problem is you forgot it. So we have to bring it up. But in reality, no one in the world will naturally think about this in this generation or previous generation or any other generation other than 900 years ago. How do I know? Because they asked this question, similar question, to one of the previous Gdolei Ador, Rav Moshe Feinstein, alav shalom. And he made a mistake, according to Halacha, in his level. According to Halakha, you made a mistake, and they chalku alav. They showed, no, Kvod Rav, you didn't consider what the Ari Migash, the Rav, Ari Migash from 900 years ago, the Rabbi of the Rambam, what he said. In his answer, he didn't consider it. Once you see his answer, the answer is pasul. It's no good, this answer. So if Rav Moshe Feinstein didn't think about it, so about 900 years ago, there was a giant chacham by the name of Rabbi Yitzchak Alfasi, also known as the Rif. Rabbi Yitzchak Alfasi was Kodesh Kodashim, had a huge Bet Midrash, huge yeshiva, many students, and his biggest Talmid, was someone by the name of the Ari Migash, Rabbi Yosef Alevi Ibn Migash. The Ari Migash was such a giant chacham that Rav Elfasi, the Rif, made him into Rosh Yeshiva at 27 years old, which is very young, over his own son. His own son, Rav Yosef Alfasi, was a giant chacham himself. But he says, you're not like Ari Migash. He's a different world. The Ari Migash, the Rambam wrote about him. He was one of his rabbis. The Rambam wrote about him. The heart of the Ari Migash for Talmud Torah, for learning Torah, like his Torah, is terrifying. His Torah is on a level of terrifying. It's scary. To such an extent, mav'it means terrifying. To such an extent where there was no one ever like him before, meaning all the way to Adam HaRishon he's talking about. No one was ever like him, and no one will ever be like him. That's the Ari Migash. And this is who's saying it? The Rambam, which, if you don't know Rambam, then get out of the rock. Bezat Hashem will teach you about the Rambam. So, we see that before we learn what he said, we have to learn who we're dealing with here. So the Ari Migash has a Shelot V'Tshuvot, questions and answers book, called Shut Ari Migash. In Siman 220, Rav, Reshbet, it says the following: Bo sheshatita mimeno mayim, al chazer bo, al tizrok bo even. A hole, a well that you drank used water from it, don't throw a rock into it. Use the well. After you finish drinking, don't just throw some stuff into it. Don't throw your garbage into it. In so many words, Al tizalzel bo velo tigmol lo ra achre sheneneta mimeno. Don't disrespect it, and don't bring evil on it after you've enjoyed it. That's what he says. That's the halacha. Where do we learn it from? He says, we learn this from the Rif, from his rabbi, the Rif. The Rif was one time sick, and he went to a bet mirchatz, which is similar to like a sauna, because the Gemara says somebody that's sick, sweating is good for them. To sweat is good for them, and we learn medically it's true. You sweat, it's good for you. Take out all of the bad stuff from your body, and that's also why anytime somebody has a high fever, it's good news if they break a sweat, because that usually means that the fever broke. That means that things are getting better. But if a child, for example, continues to have high fever, you have to do everything you can to try to make the kid sweat in some cases. Not all, but in some cases. Some, it's the opposite. Anyway, the Rif got sick one time and he went to a sauna, which helped him, B'siyata Dishmaya, of course, helped him feel better, and he got better as a result of it. And sometime later, the owner of the sauna got into financial trouble, got into problems. He borrowed some money, he couldn't return it. So they wanted to sue him because he used the sauna as collateral, as one of the things in collateral. So they wanted to sue him to collect this sona. So they said, we have to go to Bet Din. Bet Din to the Rif. We got to go to the Rabbi Fassi. Please be the judge for this case. The Rif says, I'm sorry, I cannot be the judge. Cannot be the judge. So why can't you be the judge? I can't be the judge because I cannot return bad to the sona that did me good. The sona? What's the sona going to complain to Hashem? The sona is going to write letters to the Bet Din of the next town over. Please send your dayanim because the Gdol Ador over here doesn't want to do it. Sona is an inanimate product. It's nothing. Doesn't move. Doesn't say thank you. There's no malach. Malach, you could say, okay, it's the grass. But what's the sona has malach also? Which, by the way, the thing's also. But it's a different story. But anyway, the point is, Be'emet, Rabotai, the Rif says, no, I cannot be the judge. Why? I owe a gratitude to the sona that helped me heal. And if I judge, I may return it bad. Maybe the judgment's against it. So here we see that the Rif says that the Ari Migash says we use this story as one of our sources that Rabbotenu did not judge on a case simply because they didn't want to return bad to something that gave them good, even though it was inanimate. Now, when this question was brought to Rav Moshe Feinstein, Alav Shalom, and they said to him, listen, are you allowed to judge on something that you benefited from? Rav Moshe Feinstein didn't see what the Ari Migash actually said, and he says, I don't see anything against that. I don't understand what's the problem. Why would you not be able to be a judge on such a place? What's the problem? You're doing him a favor. What, if you don't judge against him, if he owes money and you don't judge against him, he has to come back in a Gilgul. You're doing him a favor by judging him in a Bet Din. But later the other poskim went against this halacha simply because it says you didn't see what Kvodo Bimkomo, of course, in his honor, we wish we could just be a grain of salt under his feet, a grain of sand, a grain of anything. But they said you didn't see what Chachmenu Zichronam Levacha wrote 900 years ago. He didn't have this book, apparently. So, here we see that this is not something new that the Ari Migash created. He saw his rabbi do it. And we see Moshe Rabbeinu do it. So this has some sources in the Torah. So the Gemara in Masechet Ketubot said in 105b says a person should never be the judge of a person he loves or a person that he hates. Adam lo yadun et mi shehu ohev ve'et mi shehu soneh. So the Ari Migash says why? Why? He continues with halacha. He says why? Why can't you judge a person that you love or a person that you hate? The first reason is obvious. You're biased. Bottom line. You love the person. You say, oh, muchi, I love him. I'm going to give him against him. You give the other guy this guy, I'm going to give him over my boy. Nah, come on. No, he's innocent. What innocent? We have camera. The guy stole everything. No, it's not him. He didn't mean to. No, this is like the judgment of a mother. Judgment of a mother against her own kid, it's like, it's a waste of time. I remember it would drive me crazy as a little kid. Till this day it drives me crazy. Why? Anytime me and my brothers would get into a disagreement. Anytime we get into a disagreement, so what do we want? We want Ima, our mom to get in the way. No, see what he did, see what he did. You want to you're the hero. It was a complete waste of time. Why? Doesn't matter if you're innocent, you're guilty, it doesn't make a difference. You're still saying, you see. Everybody thinks they're innocent. And Adam person doesn't see obligation himself. Go to my mom, see what he did, he broke this. Immediately my mom is the Baal Shem Tov. She gives kaf zchut to everybody. No, he didn't mean to. What do you mean he didn't mean to? He smashed the chair over my head with both of his hands. No, he was meaning to put the chair next to you to sit. He didn't mean to smack you over the head. Chas v'shalom, he loves you. He's your brother. No, he said, look, I'm going to hit you, Ima. He said, look, I'm going to hit you. And I came and he hit me. No, he said, look, I'm putting, you didn't understand because you were running. She'd create this whole story, and me and my brothers would lose our mind, because even us were like, where did she come up with this? Where did you come up with this? Like, Mamash, it's a complete waste of time. Why? Because she can't pick one of the four. No, he's guilty, he's guilty, he's guilty. She loves all of us. So she would make up things so we don't fight. It would drive us crazy. For years, till this day, it drives us crazy. So going to a mom to ask judgment over one of the brothers is a complete waste of time, under normal conditions. Unfortunately, today there's a lot of abnormal conditions where there's animosity within the family, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about under normal conditions, when there's love and there's, normal relationships, you can't ask the mom to be biased or to be unbiased. So the Rimigash says, if you love the person, you're not going to be able to be the judge of this person, because you're biased. You love him or you hate him. If you hate him, he's already guilty before you know what he's guilty for. Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make it, well, he's guilty. I hate him. Guilty. Of course he did it. I don't care what he did. He's guilty. He's a this, he's a that. Wow, you don't even know what he did. You don't even know what he's been accused of. No, I just saw his face. I saw in his face that he's guilty. I can read his face. It's the same face. It reminds me of when he did something to me. No, he had plastic surgery. It's a different face. No, it's him. I can recognize his face from a mile away. You have this already predisposition about this person, miskin. So judging in such a condition, it's a waste of time. So Torah does not allow you. To such an extent that the Chachamim, anytime they would go to the Beit Din, they didn't know who the parties are for the day's trials. They would go to the Beit Din, they would sit, and people would come with their cases. So sometimes what would happen is they would come, at the same time some of the people would come. If somebody opened the door, and then later on they found out, let's say he opened the door for one of the judges, and later on they found out that he's on one of the people that's suing, or is being sued, that recuse themselves from the case. Why? I already have a bias towards him. What's the bias? I like him. What do you mean like him? You don't even know the guy. No, I have already a little bit of liking towards him because he opened the door for me. He opened the door for me, that's it. That makes me biased. So that's the level of integrity that must be upkept in our Torah, which is also the reason why somebody that goes to the civil court, by his own will, not that he's forced to go there, but let's say, for example, he got into a business disagreement with somebody, and the other person doesn't want to pay him, or he doesn't want to pay the other person, whatever the case may be, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to sue you in court. And he doesn't try to initially go to a Beit Din, he immediately goes to court. That person has to be put on cherem. You're not allowed to include him in a minyan. You're not allowed to accept his kids in yeshiva. You're not allowed to say amen to his kaddish. You're not allowed to do business with him. The person is put, mamash, he's treated like an idol worshiper. An idol worshiper. Why? You went to civil court by choice. Now, for example, if someone sues you, and you know that if you don't go to civil court, you'll lose by default, you get a permission from the Beit Din to go, no problem. Or, for example, you sue somebody in the Beit Din, and he doesn't show up to the Beit Din. Doesn't show up, then the Beit Din gives you a permission, you can go, and you have no choice, you have to go to the civil court. But you can't go to civil court just as a first thing first. Can't do it. Because you can much lose your connection to the community, to Judaism in general. That's how much civil court is hated among the Torah. Because many of the rules that they have are the exact opposite of Torah. To such an extent that you're not allowed to even put a mezuzah in a court. Not allowed to put a mezuzah in a building. This is why when people ask me about career choices, many people ask me whether there should be lawyers or not. Actually, usually they tell me they want to be lawyers, and I tell them they shouldn't be. And the reason why is because most lawyers in general, They want to go to where the money is. And the most amount of money to be made in law usually has to do with criminal law. The problem is with criminal law is that you have to be a criminal in order to be a criminal lawyer. Either criminal because that's your client, or criminal because you have to violate the Torah day and night in order to make sure that your clients win. By lying, by forging, by doing all types of things that completely go against the Torah, where you don't really care who's guilty and who's not. You care about who's paying. So there's many criminals that are released into the streets because of some clever lawyer that took advantage of a government loophole, legal loophole, and it's mamash, a disaster. Same thing goes also, by the way, with other parts of law. It's not like the other law is completely kosher. A lot of the only types of lawyers that anyone, if they have to be a lawyer, they should ever even consider should be a business lawyer. So a business lawyer, immigration lawyer, something like that. The reason why is because they're the ones that are more likely to have less issues, but they could also have even more issues, depending on the person itself. Like, for example, if someone is sued, and they could literally lose the case, the entire case, they could lose it by default by simply not having one paper filed. And not a paper where they didn't prove anything. Like one paper filed where they all had to do it, they just had to say yes, no, check mark, something like that. How do I know it happened to me? We had a lawsuit, was going for bankruptcy and so on, and they needed documentation. We provided them, I think it was something like, maybe 3,000 pages worth of documents. Like some absurd number. Several years worth of documentation, financials, proofs, everything. Took days to get it all together. Provide them. Oh, good. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Thanks. The lawyer, last second. Mamash. Maaseh mishamayim. Oh yeah, but your highness, your whoever, Mr. Satan. But they forgot to bring the paper. Oh, lost by default. What paper? Yeah, the paper you were supposed to check mark on the right side. Okay, I'll bring it. No, too late. Lost by default. You have to try the whole thing all over again. One paper. This is gneva. This is thievery. So a person has to have such a midah of honesty to be a lawyer. They must have to be malach Hashem. In today's world, there's so many opportunities to make money, to make a decent living without putting yourself and your neshama in danger. I don't know why anybody would put themselves in that danger. I don't recommend it. But again, some people have some type of interest in it, or family, or something into it. Fine. The point is, Rabotai, is that according to the Torah, it's not the ideal choice, because if you're going to go with the civil law, you have to know also the Torah law. You have to know where you're not allowed to do certain things. And you can't say, no, but this is the law of the land. Doesn't make a difference, law of the land. Law of the land does not supersede law of the Torah. Don't let anybody fool you thinking, no, but this is the law of the land, so it makes it okay. No, if the law of the land says you have to violate Shabbat from now on, you have to move. You're not allowed to violate Shabbat. So, when a person is in a position of being a judge, which is the aspiration of most lawyers, is to one day be a judge, even though they make less money, legally they make less money, but bribe-wise they usually make more. If you consider the bribes, the illegal money, that usually is more. But legally it's less money, because the clients don't send you a check, they have to give you black money. Joke number 2, you guys still didn't laugh. See, that's why I don't give you guys any jokes. It's not worth it, it's a waste of effort. 2 jokes already. I'm already hitting a high. I'm the only one laughing at my jokes. Maybe people on the internet are finally laughing at my jokes. You guys are slow, that's what it is. Slow. Yeah. I'm going to give you guys more geinom. I'll give you more geinom. Then you got to start laughing. Kafakela, geinom. See, everybody says scary. I'm trying to be funny. People feel like you guys are going to start crying. We're talking about business over here. Anyway, so when a person is in a position of judge, he cannot judge somebody he loves, he cannot judge somebody that he hates. So back to what we were saying, the Ari Migaz says, what's the second thing? What's the second reason that a person cannot judge somebody that he hates or he loves? Because if you were able to save him, but have to judge him according to the deen, and the deen is unfavorable to him, then it would be returning evil to one who gave you good. Meshalem ra'a tachat tova. So if you were able, now, you are a judge. Your friend came into your court. You owe him a favor. He lent you $50 25 years ago. We didn't have any food to eat. He's being sued by his partner for stealing $1 million. His partner is right 100%. His partner is right 100%. Well, he's a thief. He has proofs. He's on the camera. Everything. You judging on that case, you say, listen, I appreciate you lent me $50 20 years ago. You saved my life, but you're guilty. You're a thief. It's the law. The Ari Migaz says, you're right, it's the law. But it would be returning ra'ah tachat tova. It would be returning evil when you received good. And that's an evil trait. And that's evil. And if this is the case, he continues, when it comes to a domem, when it comes to an inanimate, something that's nothing, a wall, a river, a nothing, which doesn't have feelings, it doesn't have benefits, it doesn't sue, it doesn't look for you, it doesn't write about you, it doesn't think about you, it doesn't have any intentions. It's kal v'chomer, meaning needless to say, that this is applicable to people who do have feelings or of pain and helpfulness, which such action would be despised if done. Therefore, such a judge violates the laws of Musar and Derech Eretz. The Meiri adds that it's clear that it's forbidden to embarrass and hurt any person. It's clear, everybody knows this. But a person must also be careful not to hurt anyone or anything that he benefited from, even in his mind. Lo yahar'er levazoto klal. Not only don't go and disrespect somebody or disrespect some place, don't even think about it. This place, I hate it. Next time I come here, I'm going to not clean up. Next time this, don't even think about it. Why? Anyone who does violate this, we're not even talking about you actually did something, you broke something, you said something about him, you said something about her. No. We're talking about you thought about it. You know what? Next time I'm going to say something. Next time I'm going to do something. You thought about it. Anyone who does violate this has no midot and is considered despicable in his nature. I.e., he is an animal. That's what it says. That's what the Meiri says. Kodesh Kodashim. You thought about hurting something or someone that gave you good. The school gave you good, right? But you want to write some comment anonymously on the internet. Don't go to this school. The bathrooms stink. Yeah, but did you use the bathrooms? Did you relieve yourself in the bathroom? But you're still going to talk bad about it? Why did you go somewhere else then? Oh, you couldn't. So the school helped you, right? The building helped you. You still want to talk about it? You're no different than an animal. No different than an animal. Yeah, but I just thought about it. I didn't write it. I just thought about it. Hashem knows you thought about it. And at that moment you thought about it, he's saying, look at my despicable son. Look at this kfui tova, ungrateful son that I have. I created a whole building in the world for him to use the bathroom, and he's thinking, maybe I should do something to go against the school. Look what kind of son I have. Misken, my son. I gave him instructions how not to be like this. I gave him a Torah not to be like this. He forgot to read the Torah. So where do we get the next part of understanding this? From Michtav Me'Eliyahu, Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler. Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler, in Michtav Me'Eliyahu, third part, Chelek Gimel, page 98. He says the following: we've been obligated to show gratitude even to the inanimate, despite the fact that it doesn't exert itself or toil for us, meaning the river didn't go out of its way to hide Moshe. It didn't make any waves. It didn't make a special tunnel. It didn't make anything. It was a river. The river flowed. The sand didn't make any special cave for Moshe to hide the body. There was nothing supernatural. He took the sand, shovel, shovel, body went into the shovel, finished. That's it. That's what happened. So it's not like the sand or the water did anything special. It's not like the building did anything special for you. It's not like the chair did anything special for you. It's a chair. It's a building. It's a water. It's a nothing. Michtav Me'Eliyahu says, we're taught to show gratitude to the inanimate even though it doesn't exert itself for us. And of course it doesn't possess the intention to instill good. Meaning it's not like the water thought all day, you know what? When can I do a favor for Betzalel? I can't wait to see Betzalel. Why? Because last time I saw him, he smiled at me. So you know what? This time, I'm going to smile back at him. I want to make a special way for him so he enjoys the way. The water didn't think about you, I promise. It didn't think about you. I thought about you. The water didn't think about you. Why? The water is water. It's water. After all, it's water. After all, it's a wall. After all, it's a building. It's an inanimate. But Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler says, it doesn't possess the intentions to instill good. Yet our sages taught us that gratitude doesn't depend on intention or effort. Rather, it's the obligation to show gratitude on the receiver. Why? Just because he received it. Meaning that to say thank you, to show appreciation to the chair, to the hat, to the wall, to the clothes, to the everything that you have is the obligation of the receiver. It has nothing to do with the giver. Why? Because a person is mostly born with horrible midot. Some good ones, but for the most part, most of our midot, most of our character traits are evil. Everyone thinks that they're special. Their mom tells them that they're special. Their dad tells them that they're special. Their teacher tells them they're special. They're brought up in a world that tells them that they're special. You get an award just for participating. In this generation, if you participate and you arrive last, you still get the first place reward. If you have some type of deficiency, they call you special. Special needs, special ed, special this, special that. Everybody's special. So it's very normal for us to actually start believing this stuff. That we're special, special, special. Now yes, there are certain parts of us that are special. But when everyone is saying you're special, they're not referring to the evil in you. They're referring to the good stuff. Now we don't have that much good stuff. We have a lot of bad stuff, but oh Hashem, plenty of that. Good stuff, there's not that much. Why? Because unless you work on yourself, you're not going to have much good stuff. Naturally, a person is born arrogant. Naturally, a natural inclination for a person is to think he's better than everybody else, he's smarter than everybody else, she's better looking than everybody else, better in something else. Oh, I'm not better looking than her, but I'm smarter than her. Oh, I'm not smarter than her, but I'm better looking. Oh, I'm luckier. I'm this. Everybody thinks they're better at something. So the arrogance that people have is a natural inclination. The jealousy that we have against other people is natural for us. We hate to see other people succeed, naturally. It's supernatural to not be jealous. You have to work on it. Very few people are naturally not jealous people. Very few. Most people hate to see other people succeed, even their best friend. In fact, Mostly they're best friends. Oh, I can't believe she got a new car. Probably stole it. Why? Why did she have to steal it? Why did she have to steal it? We can't give anybody credit. Oh, he says he finished the Shas? Liar. Liar, he probably finished writing Shas. He didn't finish reading Shas. Right, he wrote the word Shas. He doesn't know how to read, the guy. I saw him read. He doesn't know how to read. What, rabbi? What rabbi? What is he talking about rabbi? Who calls him a rabbi? It's some fake diploma. Rabbi, come on, rabbi. Where do you get this house? Ah, he probably killed the landlord. Probably killed the landlord. He skinned the landlord. Probably the wife is looking for him. They start creating stories in their head. Why? Because they have such deep jealousy, they can't live with themselves seeing somebody else succeed. No, there has to be something. Has to be something. I'm still trying to figure out, how does he make any money? He does everything for free. How does he make any money? That's what 500 times I've heard this. People actually ask me questions. They send me questions. How do you make a living? Like, what do you kid? Do I ask you, how do you make a living? People ask Rabbi Zachi, how do you make a living? You're free. Every lecture is free. How do you survive? It has to be something. There has to be a scam or something. Why? Because the reality is, number one, people are jealous. They see success, they're jealous. Number two, which is worse, is that they know, especially the rabbis that go against, they know they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't work for free. So they're saying, if I wouldn't work for free, there's no way he's better than me. There's no way he's a better person than me. So there must be a scam. There must be, he's making money somehow. He's scheming some way. He's probably sacrificing people in the back. $1,000 a head every lecture. 2,000 people show up, gets a few $1,000,000. Like, the thoughts that go into the jealous people's minds have no end. Unfortunately, I've dealt with jealous people my whole life because people have nothing to do with themselves. They're so busy being jealous, they forget that they could succeed just as much. When you're a jealous person, you also know that aside from not being able to resurrect with the dead, because anyone that dies with the midah of jealousy is promised that when they resurrect the dead, they'll stay dead. You cannot resurrect from the dead being jealous. Why? Because jealousy is kfirah. It's heresy. Why? Because in essence, you're saying that Hashem gave him, Hashem gave her something that belongs to you. So Hashem made a mistake in your mind. Jealousy is a horrible trait to have. But aside from that, aside from not being resurrected, the problem is that a person that's jealous doesn't enjoy this world. Because they're constantly eating their heart and they're never satisfied. There was a person that was mamash rasha, evil person, during a generation of Rabbi Akiva Iger, alav shalom. And this person was evil, jealous, made sure that he's the only one that has money, and anyone that wanted to borrow money, he completely ignored the halakha that you're not allowed to charge people interest. Not allowed to charge Jews interest. So he would lend people money, and he would charge them interest. Rabbis tried to get involved, wouldn't listen. One day he died, and his son's called Chevra Kadisha. And Chevra Kadisha said, yeah, sure, no problem, we'll bury him. We need 1,000 gold coins, which was an enormous amount of money. The sons complained, what are you, crazy? 1,000 gold coins? It doesn't even cost 10% of that. Listen, we're charging 1,000 gold coins. Do you want us to bury it or not? You can bury it to Goyim if you want. No, it's our father, he's a Jew, he this, he that, he kept Shabbat, his beard was reaching the floor, everything. 1,000 gold coins. That's what we charge. You want to go take us to Bet Din? Take us to Bet Din. So his sons went to the Bet Din, Rabbi Akiva Iger, with the king. King at the time, the mayor or whatever it was of the town, the Goy mayor, came to Rabbi Akiva Iger and said, listen, we have a problem here. Your Chevra Kadisha over here, they're supposed to be religious people, but they want to charge 1,000 gold coins just to bury a body. Rule over here. Rule. You're the judge. I'm giving you the. You're the ruler of the Bet Din of the court of the Jews. Review the case. Rule over it. Rabbi Akiva reviewed it. Says the Chevra Kadisha are correct. It's 1,000 gold coins, and I'll explain to you why. He says, you see, the Chevra Kadisha, usually when we bury bodies, we're expecting that this person is only going to be here temporarily. Why? Because one day they're going to resurrect the dead, and the person's going to leave, and then with the Mashiach, and everything's good. But you see, the problem is this person's a Rasha. He lent money to people with interest, so he's not going to be resurrected with the dead. He's staying here permanently, so they have to charge a higher price. He's not a rent. He's buying. He's purchasing the space. Third joke, you still have to laugh. Third joke, still have to laugh. Terrible. See, I have no more jokes for you guys. You're on cherem of jokes. Cherem of jokes. I have to give a disclosure. Joke coming. So I think the me complaining about the jokes is funnier than the jokes, though. So now we have a situation here where a person has horrible traits naturally. They're jealous, they're arrogant, they're stingy. That's our natural inclination. If a person does not work on becoming humble, then all he will ever be in his life is arrogant. He cannot become humble naturally. Someone pretended to have the trait of humility at the time of the Rambam. The Rambam said it's impossible. Followed him around. He looked like he was humble. Before he left town, he came to the Rambam. He says, "Aren't I the most humble?" He says, now I know the secret. It was all a show. Why? It's impossible to be humble without the Torah. So if you don't work on becoming humble, that means you're only going to be the opposite, which is arrogant. Now, not everybody expresses their arrogance the same way. I have one guy that I know personally, Rasha Merusha, a guy that I used to work for. Okay, he expressed his arrogance in the loudest, like as if it's on a microphone at all times. He wanted to make sure the whole world knew he's the best. Other people express their arrogance behind a keyboard. They don't show it in public. They look like they're little miskenim, poor guy, looks like he's a tzaddik. What does he do after he gets behind his keyboard? He starts insulting people in public and doing stupid things. Why? He's arrogant. But he expresses his arrogance in different ways. So just because somebody is not vocal and obnoxious does not mean that they're actually humble. Arrogance is expressed in different ways. Only way not to be arrogant is if you work and toil and break that horrible midah, destroy it, to remove any claim of arrogance whatsoever that you have. Any inkling of arrogance that you have. If you have never worked on it, you should know you're arrogant. Naturally, you're arrogant. So now you're asking yourself, am I arrogant? Did he just say to me that I'm arrogant? Did he just dare to call me arrogant? Does he know how humble I am? Fourth joke, you left. Good. So, does he know how humble I am? Does he know how humble I am? If you're saying, does he know how humble I am? You're arrogant. You're the most arrogant person in the room. Because you think you're not arrogant. You think you're humble. So the reality is, Rabotai, if you're not working on becoming humble, you're going to be arrogant. If you're not working on having Ayin Tovah, meaning enjoying the good that others have, not your good, the good that other people have. You see somebody else got a new house, wow, Hashem. Hashem is so amazing, got him a new house. You're as happy for his new house as even though you're living in a little taranta. You're living in a little hut that you're supposed to use for Sukkot. You live in there the whole year round. You saw his 4-story house, you're as happy as can be. If you're not working on it, if you're hating it a little bit, and you're jealous a little bit, and you said, I should have that house. I'm going to have that house. It's my house, really. He's just borrowing it from me for now. You have that kind of attitude, you're not going to be resurrected with the dead. It's funny, but it's not funny. Why? You have a midah of jealousy. And a jealous person does not resurrect with the dead. You looked at other people's wins, and you're starting to say to yourself, that's mine. That's mine. It's not his. Why did he get it? Why does he get all this stuff? Why did she get all this stuff? Why did she find a shidduch? Why did he find a shidduch? Why did he do this? Why did he do that? You start questioning Hashem. You have a serious, serious tragedy. And it's called spiritual cancer. And the only solution for spiritual cancer is tshuva. No chemo is going to help you. No doctor is going to help you. Nothing is going to help you other than serious tshuva, which means that you're going to have to work on yourself, to an extent of breaking this horrible midah. Because being jealous destroys this world and the next. Yes?
I heard someone that to be jealous about Talmid Chacham is allowed. You're allowed to be jealous of someone who's great in Torah.
Greater in Torah because you want to have the Torah and you're toiling for it, not because he just has it for the sake of having it, you're not doing anything about it. Meaning if, let's say for example, you're studying, he's studying, he finished the Shas 100 times, you finished the Shas 99 times, yes, you should be jealous that he finished it more than you. Absolutely. But if you're sitting home sleeping all day, and you're jealous that he's already has 5 Batei Midrash, 6 Yeshivot, 2,000 Talmidim following him around at all times, to be jealous of him has nothing to do with his Torah. It has to do with what he's achieved. That's not a good jealousy. So, that means you have to do what he's doing, but you haven't reached what he reached. That's the thing. 2 people are studying, he reached higher, that's a good jealousy. But other than that, if a person is not doing anything about it, it's not good. I've seen many people jealous of certain rabbis, and they're not even rabbis. They're jealous of the rabbi, but they're not even rabbis. They hate the rabbi. Oh no, it's probably a scam. It's probably this. It's probably that. Why? Because they don't care that the rabbi is working for Hashem. He's helping neshamot. He's building more Torah in the world. No. They care about what does it represent. People follow him. People listen to him. People respect him. They don't value the rabbi per se and what he's achieved in Torah. They value the surface, the fame, the fortune, all of this, superficial garbage that the rabbi doesn't even want if he's a real rabbi. So a person that does not work on having Ayin Tovah is naturally going to remain jealous. And jealousy is a horrible, terrible spiritual cancer. If a person does not work on becoming generous, becoming generous, naturally he's going to be stingy. Why are people so stingy? How do you know if somebody's stingy or not? It all depends on how much they like money. If they like money, naturally they're extremely stingy. Why? No one likes to give what they like. You're never going to see a really fat guy share his meal. Why? He says, listen, I'll give you money. Maybe he's generous with money, but not with food. Why? He likes his food. His food is like his baby, even though he's about to eat it. If it was his baby, maybe he'd eat it also if he's hungry enough. I don't know. But the point is, a really fat person is not going to share his food. Why? He likes it too much. And I'm not talking about someone that's fat because he's sick. I'm talking about somebody that's fat because he just has no control over himself. He just doesn't control himself. He eats everything that moves, doesn't move, alive, dead, Sheva Mitzvah B'nai Noach. It doesn't make a difference. He's eating everything. That's a person that's sick. I can tell you the truth. I actually never really saw really, really big people until I came to America. Everything in Israel is much smaller. At least when I was a kid, it looked smaller. Today, Shtabach Shemo. When I first saw an apple, I almost had a heart attack. I thought it was fake. When I first saw an apple in America, I thought it was fake. Because the apples, it's not fake. It just has a lot of drugs in it. Said that. It's not fake. It's real. It's not fake. It's not fake. It's just that's on steroids. Just on steroids. Just an apple on steroids. It's worked out a lot. But anyway, the thing is though, that's what you guys laughed at? For the apple that took steroids? Fifth joke. Fifth is a charm.
All the foods in US are
GMO? You never heard of GMO? Oh, apple took steroids, yeah. Cows take steroids.
You should write a book.
Okay, natural.
by Rabbi.
I'm very natural. It's comedy act. Comedy act. So anyway, now, when a person likes money, he's going to be stingy. Why? Because a person that loves money, the Gemara says, will never have enough money. Oev kesef lo yizba kesef. He's never going to be fulfilled with money. He's going to always, always love money. He's never going to want to get rid of it. He's always going to keep it. Somebody could be struggling right in front of him. He's not going to do it. Okay, get back to me. Get back to me. He's hoping the guy forgets to get back to him. He's hoping the guy forgets to get back to him. Get back to me on Tuesday. I don't have it on me. He has $5,000 on him. I don't have it on me. No, this is already somewhere else. It's already committed to somewhere else. But come back to me on Tuesday. He's hoping the guy forgets his phone number. He's hoping the guy forgets his phone number, or maybe even dies before he comes back to him. Why? He loves his money much more than he loves this person. Admit, sir, a lot of people, if you're not generous because you've worked on it, naturally, most people are going to be stingy because they like money. And when you like money, you forget about God. You forget about mitzvot. You forget about what's good. You forget about all that stuff. You like it. Sometimes certain people will do certain things where they're going to try to please, give like their own conscience, like a pat on the back to make themselves feel good. So, for example, somebody doesn't really want to contribute to the Beit Knesset. Why? He says, why am I going to contribute to this place? They don't listen to me. They don't really give me any special kavod here. Yeah, they're crying and they need money, and if they don't come up with $25,000 in the next 24 hours, they're probably going to shut down the place. But what do I care? That's their problem. You know what I'm going to do? Once they shut down this place, I'm going to open my own Beit Knesset for $250,000. Why? Because I'm a tzaddik. Why? But why wouldn't you invest into one that exists already? Because it has nothing to do with the Beit Knesset. It has to do with your ego. It has to do with stinginess. But how do you please yourself and not admit that you're stingy, despicable person? You open a Beit Knesset. You open one. Say, I open a Beit Knesset. The Gemara in Yerushalmi says something unbelievable. It says that one of the Chachamim comes to visit his friend, and they're both walking into in this town of Lud. And Rav Chanina says, look at how many synagogues my family has built. Look at how many synagogues. Lud is full of synagogues. Pelepline, beautiful synagogues. He tells his buddy, Rabbi Yoshaya, says, look how many synagogues they built. Rabbi Yoshaya says, oy vey, oy, what did your family do? What did your family do? Look how much money they wasted. What, there was no poor Talmidei Chachamim in the entire town? Meaning, why are you building so many synagogues? Take the money, finance Talmid Chacham for 5 years. We don't need buildings. We need people. We need Jews. This is in the Gemara. In the Yerushalmi, Masechet Peah, in the end of Masechet Peah. 8:8. Anyway, the person that's stingy is going to somehow comfort himself by using his money to do a mitzvah that pleases him instead of that pleases Hashem. And this is a very, very serious problem. Why? Because he could continue living his entire life thinking he's a tzaddik. Look at the Beit Knesset I built. Look at how many Sefer Torah I have. Yeah, but you have no people. No, the people are going to come eventually. Yeah, but you spent $500,000 building this place. You could have spent $50,000 supporting the place that exists for the last 50 years. Yeah, but it's not my place. So what? It's not your place. It's Hashem's place. You don't care about Hashem. You don't care about Am Yisrael. You care about me. You care about yourself, right? Oh, okay. So at least say it's for you. Don't say it's Hashem's Beit Knesset. Don't say it. Say it's your Beit Knesset. Say it's your Beit Knesset at least. At least admit. But you're never going to admit. Why? Because he doesn't even know it himself. Sometimes the stinginess is so ingrained in a person, he doesn't even realize he's wrong. He thinks it's a mitzvah. He's actually viewing himself tzaddik. Tzaddik yesod olam. He's thinking about when they say tzaddik during the limud, any type of shiur Torah, they're talking about me. I can't believe they discovered me. I thought I was nistar. I thought I was hiding. I was in hiding. I can't believe they're talking about me. Wow, I'm blushing. Can they see me blushing with the beard? Can they see me blush? They're saying tzaddik. They're talking about me. That's what people like to talk about. The Rabbanit said, Rabbanit Tzara, the Rabbi Ephraim's wife, says, people like to hear about shiurim, about gratitude. Why they like shiurim about gratitude? Because they think, finally people are going to learn how to say thank you to me. Finally people are going to say thank you to me, meaning to yourself. It's a sick joke. I got half a laugh. Only B'Tzalel is a good audience. The rest of you guys are half asleep. Listen, what can I do? I got to go back to just Gehinom. You guys laughed more there. Anyway, Rabotai, point is that if a person does not work on himself his natural inclination is mostly bad midot. Where if he doesn't work on breaking them, he's bound to remain only with bad midot. And the very basis, the minimum of good, the minimum, like many people claim to be good people. In fact, everyone claims to be good. Everyone claims to be good. You tell somebody, how come you don't keep Shabbat? You know Hashem created the world, created the heaven, created you, created this, created that. He did a lot of good for you. Why don't you keep Shabbat? Why don't you keep Torah? Listen, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Why are you a good person? I don't kill anybody. The cow doesn't kill anybody. You ever see a cow murder anybody? Even when the cow is angry, did you ever see a cow just like hit somebody so hard it killed it? No, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. You're never going to see a cow getting arrested. You right to be silent. You go, no cow ever got arrested in the history of cows. Why? They're all good? No, they're cows. The point is, Rabotai, is that people think, no, I don't murder, therefore I'm good. That doesn't make you good. What if you embarrass people in public and then they commit suicide because of you? That's murder. What if you embarrass somebody, they don't commit suicide, but they go into a depression, don't leave. It's worse than suicide. That's murder. What if you embarrass somebody and they lose a shidduch? All the kids that would have come out, that you've murdered all of them. What if you embarrass somebody and now they lose a job? All of the benefits they would have brought to the world as a result of this job, you murdered. Murder, it doesn't have to be with a knife or a gun. People think that I don't murder anybody with a gun or a knife. I'm not from ISIS. I don't chop heads on television, therefore I'm good. No, you're just not a member of ISIS. Good, we still have to consider. We still have more questions to ask to determine whether you're good or not. You're just not a member of ISIS, that's it. Okay, so you're not part of that organization. You can still be Hamas. You can still be Palestinian. Why? Palestinians don't chop heads off. They don't. They blow themselves up. Come on, with kavod they die. They kill people with kavod. No, they blow up a different way. Rocks. See, he's an expert. Listen, maybe he knows a few. He can introduce you. He can introduce you to a few Palestinians if you want. Palestinian. Point is, Rabotai, not killing people does not make you good. Doesn't make you good. Oh, I don't steal. So what? You don't steal. So what? You don't steal. Doesn't make you a good person. Plenty of people don't even realize they've been stealing for years. Years they've been stealing. Years and years they've been stealing, but they don't evaluate it as stealing. They go work for somebody, and instead of working for him, they're on their phone with their girlfriend the whole time. You know you're stealing, right? He's not paying you $500 a week, $1,000 a week to be on the phone with your girlfriend. Now, if he doesn't care that you're on the phone with your girlfriend and your wife and your kids and the this and the that, and you're not working, he doesn't care because you're doing your job still, or he's simply an idiot. Whichever one happens, then it's a different story. But if he says, listen, I'm paying you $500 a week to go mow lawns, and you, instead of mowing lawns, you're talking to your friends, you're going to have some hot dogs, some cheeseburgers, to the casino, all this stuff, you're a thief. No, he's a millionaire. I'm not stealing. $500, he doesn't even care. All of a sudden, they start doing the accounting of the boss. All of a sudden, they become a CPA. No, you know how many millions he makes from this company? Do you really think he cares about the measly $500 that he pays me? I'm doing him a favor for working for him. I'm doing him a favor. I gave him a ride one time in 1927. Like, they start doing all this accounting of why they're not a thief. In reality, not only the person's a thief, ganav mushchat, a corrupt thief. At least a regular thief, he's not corrupt. He knows he's a thief. This person, corrupt thief. Why? He doesn't admit he's a thief. If you're going to even listen to Shurei Torah, people ask me this all the time. Am I allowed to listen to Shurei Torah while I'm working? If your boss doesn't mind, because it doesn't interfere with your job, enjoy. If he does mind, then you're not allowed. Now, what does it mean if he minds or he doesn't mind? So somebody asked a difficult question. Two people in the same week asked the same question. Satan is getting strong. A lot of people are listening to Shurei Torah. They download our app, Baruch Hashem, or they watch on the internet, different things. And they listen to Shurei Torah the whole day. Why? They have the type of job that doesn't necessarily require them to be enamored in the job itself. They could do two things at the same time. And the problem is that Satan doesn't like it. Why? It's like you've turned into a kollel. You're better than the Arizal kollel, 24 hours a day. You're learning Torah all day. The whole day you're working, you're listening. After work, you're eating, you're listening. After you finish eating, you come to the shiur. 24 hours a day, you're learning Torah. Even your sleeping is considered like you're learning. Why? Because you need to sleep in order to learn more tomorrow. You turn to 24 hours a day kollel. So some people are doing this. Baruch Hashem. Shtabach Shemo. Problem is, Satan doesn't like it, so he starts creating problems. All of a sudden, some zevil in the office comes out of the garbage can. He says, no. You're not allowed to listen to the Shurei Torah. Why am I not allowed to listen to Shurei Torah? Everybody else is listening to whatever they're listening to. This guy is listening to MC Hammer. The other guy is listening to Tupac. The other guy is listening to some comedian that doesn't stop cursing. Why can't I listen to Shurei Torah? No, if you want to listen to music, that's fine by us. But if you listen to this Torah of yours, it's going to interfere. One guy in Los Angeles told me, it's going to intimidate other people. That you're listening to Torah. Maybe they're going to be intimidated by your religion. I said, you could sue them for millions of dollars for saying such a thing. You could sue them for millions for saying such a thing. But what about halacha? Halacha is, if this company permits you and everybody else to listen to music, but they say don't listen to Torah, you don't have to listen to them. You can still listen to Torah. Why? Because then it's just religious persecution. It has nothing to do with the work. But if they say no one's allowed to listen, it's a rule, company policy, no one's allowed to listen to music, no one's allowed to listen to Torah, no one's allowed to listen to anything. Don't listen to anything other than the voice of the boss. That's the only music you're allowed to listen to. That's a different story. Few people came to Rabbi Hanina, said hello to him, he wouldn't answer them. He wouldn't answer to them until he finished work. He said, why? Because my boss doesn't accept me talking to people while I work. And if I spoke to you guys, even saying hello, I'll be stealing from him. I don't want to come back in a gilgul because I said hello. So a person needs to know that just because they don't think that they're stealing, doesn't mean that they're not stealing. In reality, Chazal says that almost everybody's a thief. Unless you work on it heavily to know the dinim of gezel, most likely you're stealing and you don't even realize it. You work for people, you have customers, you don't give them what they paid for. Different things like that, Rabotai, it's very, very easy to be a thief. So to say, no, I'm a good person because I don't steal, unless you're a giant Talmid Chacham, most likely it's not true. You're a thief, and most likely you're also not a good person for other reasons. Why? Because again, like I said, you cannot say I'm a good person because I decided I'm a good person. Most people that say such a thing are usually the worst people. But they don't realize it, and they don't realize that not only are they corrupt in what they think, but they're corrupt in other aspects also. So what is the bottom line of bottom line, the minimum of being good? What is the minimum requirement to be defined anything remotely equivalent to good? Answer: gratitude. In order to be good, the minimum requirement you have to have is to have gratitude. Not even to give, simply to say thank you for what you receive. If you're already at a stage of saying thank you and you give, then you're even better. You're shrecha, tzaddik. But if you don't know how to say thank you, even what you give doesn't count. Why? Because everything you give is like business. You're not giving it because you're good. You're giving it because you're expecting something in return. If a person does not know how to say thank you to his fellow, he doesn't know how to say thank you. His friend gave him a ride. He doesn't know how to say thank you. His friend lent him money. He doesn't want to return the money. Why didn't you want to return the money? He lent you the money. It's his problem he lent me the money. Yeah, but he lent you the money. He worked hard for the money. No, he didn't work. His father gave it to him. So what? His father worked hard for the money. What difference is it to you how he gave you the money? He gave you the money. Why don't you pay him back? It's his problem he gave me the money. He's a fool. He's a moron for lending me the money. You know how people like this there is? You know how many people like this there is? They borrow money. They know for sure they have no inclination whatsoever they have no possibility to return it. Why? That's an Adam Mushchat. That's a corrupt person. Not just corrupt because of the law of the land and so on. No, that's a person that believes that the world owes him something, owes him everything. Everything belongs to him, and if he fooled you, Ashav, he's the winner. The fact you lent the money and he's not going to return it back for you, it's your problem. Yeah, why is it my problem? I give you money, I try to help you out. Why is it my problem that you don't want to pay me back? Why don't you pay me back? I don't care that you lend me money. Why is such a person corrupt? Because the Gemara says that such a person that's a kfui tova, it's an ungrateful to his fellow, will ultimately become ungrateful to Aborei Barach. Will ultimately become ungrateful to Hashem. How does such a person become ungrateful to Hashem? A simple analogy. If you lent the money and he says, no, I'm not going to pay you back. Why? I don't have it. Yeah, but you do have it. You just bought a second house. Yeah, no, but I spent the money already. Okay, but you're going to buy a car. Give me the money instead of buying the car. No, but I need the car. He always has an excuse of why he's not going to pay you back. To buy his stuff he has. To pay you back he doesn't have ever. That person, one day you're going to say, by the way, you have to keep Shabbat. By the way, your wife has to start wearing clothes. She has to be modest. By the way, you have to be modest. By the way, you have to give tzedakah. You have to do good things, so on and so forth. All these rules, it's not for me. What do you mean it's not for you? Hashem created you. It's his problem. Did he ask me if I should create me? Did I ask Hashem to create me? That's what the Kfui Tova does. That's what the ungrateful, the most despicable, disgusting human filth on earth says. Did I ask Hashem to create me? It's not my problem that he created me. He decided to create me, so what? That is the most despicable human being on earth. Why? Not only are you acknowledging that Hashem created you and gave you good, but you're saying, why should I say thank you? I'm acknowledging you gave me good. No thanks. Literally. Your problem, you created me. When are they going to come back to Hashem and beg him? Beg him to come back into their life? When he starts taking limbs one at a time. When he starts taking bodies one at a time. When he starts closing bank accounts one at a time. When things stop working. Everybody becomes a tzaddik at the hospice center when the doctors only give you a few hours to live. But it's too late. This is why, Rabotai, a person needs to know that if they don't work on themselves, if they don't work on their midot to improve the character trait of gratitude, they will always be a mushchat, a corrupt person. Because all of the other traits, whether it's humility or generosity or ayin tova or the opposite, ayin ra'ah, all of good eye, bad eye, all of the other traits have to build on this. If a person naturally is ungrateful, the rest of his midot that will build upon them will have some type of corruption on them. Will have corruption on them. Why? You don't even know how to say thank you. Thank you, you don't know, and you think you're good? I mean, think about it. Somebody just saved your life, and you don't even have the courage in you to say thank you? Thank you? You don't know how to say thank you? What did he save my life? He just gave me $50 to eat. What if you didn't eat? No, I would have found it somewhere else. You not only don't know how to say thank you, you're much evil. Why? Gemara says, Rabotai, something that puts things into perspective. It says, what's a good guest? You have a guest in your house, right? What's a good guest? A good guest says, wow, look at this. Everything that the Baal Habayit, the owner, did was in my honor. What a good Baal Habayit. What's a bad guest? What's an evil guest say? He was going to eat anyway. So what? He put another chicken for me. Big deal. He was going to eat anyway. What? It's a big deal. He put another plate. That's an evil person. That's an adam mushchat, corrupt. Instead of saying thank you, he's like, I knew he was going to eat anyway. What? There's 20 people in his family. One more person, big deal. If it wasn't me, it was going to be somebody else. And he has all of this rationalization of his corrupt, evil, and this person will never get out of his own way. Why? He's convinced he's right. He's convinced the world owes him something. So now we have to go back to our question, Rabotai Yekarim. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu say everything to Aaron to do? Why did he owe this ocean gratitude? Now, of course, we heard that the Chachamim say you should show gratitude even to something that's inanimate. For yourself. What does it mean for yourself? For yourself, Rabotai Yekarim, is that the Ari Migas explains, in order to avoid falling into the horrible trait of ingratitude, in order to stay away, as far away as possible from this evil, horrible, disgusting, despicable character trait of not saying thank you, a person must accustom himself to show gratitude even to the inanimate, even to something that doesn't move. Not because the closet's going to answer you and say you welcome, or the ocean is going to do an extra wave for you and say you welcome, or the sand is going to have a party for you next time you come by. It's like a wabaruch haba. No! It's for you. Why for you? If you get used to saying thank you to the walls, to the chairs, and to every single thing that you get a benefit from in this world, it's needless to say, you're going to say thank you to things that move also. Your wife, your husband, your kids, your neighbor, your teacher, your boss. You're going to say thank you to everyone instead of complain about them. But if you forget to say thank you to the closet and to the chair and to the school and to everything else, then it just becomes a habit to be a mushchat, a habit to be a corrupt person, a habit to just expect things to be given to you just because you're you and you're Mr. Wonderful and you're owed everything. So now the ocean gave me, the wife gave me. Why? They both owe me. The dog gave me, the husband gave me. They both owe me. God gave me, man gave me. They all owe me. Why? I'm just so good. This is adam mushchat. And a person like that cannot be a good person. Because they don't know how to say the basis of thank you. And just saying thank you to the teller for giving you your change back doesn't make you a good person. Don't start saying, no, every time I get $2.37 back for the coffee at the non-kosher place Starbucks, I say thank you. I say thank you. That doesn't make you a good person. That became an instinct and a reflex. The thank you that we're talking about, Rabotai, is a thank you that's hard for a person to say. Why is it hard for people to say? Because a thank you obligates a person. Obligates a person to recognize what's been given to them. When a person does a blessing, for let's say this water, as Jews, we're obligated to say thank you twice. But if you look, the blessing after is much more significant, but much more difficult to do. Why? Let's say you keep Torah. Let's say you came to a few shiurim. You spoke about Genom and a few jokes in between. And you're going to start saying blessing. Before you drink this nice water, you're going to say, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh midvaro. Okay, so you're going to say, thank you to Hashem for giving me the water. In reality, that is not going to have the same level of magnitude as the blessing of if you drank about 2 ounces in one shot, you have to say borei nefashot. If you drank it sip by sip, then even if you drank a whole jug, you don't have to say borei nefashot. But if you drank about 2 ounces of it in one shot, like a shot glass in essence, then you have to say borei nefashot. That second blessing is much more significant. Why? Because initially, you were so thirsty, it's like a bribe. Why? Oh, okay, let me just get the nefashot. Yet, you drank. You forgot what you said. Did I say the blessing? I didn't say the blessing. I was just so thirsty, I wanted to drink. I don't know if I even said the blessing right. You're so thirsty. Your desire is so overwhelming that you're gonna say whatever. Tell me to go jump off a building. I'll just give me the water. For heaven's sake, give me the water. I'm so thirsty. You're so hungry sometimes. What do you want? Motzi? Okay, we'll do motzi. Shalen, or whatever you want, I'll do it. Just give me the food. So it's like a little bit of a bribe because the food's in front of you. Many people struggle with Birkat HaMazon, even though it's the most important blessing in the entire Torah. More critical than Shema Yisrael, more critical than Amidah. Birkat HaMazon is the only bracha in the entire Torah that Hashem commands us to do it. V'achalta v'savata u'birachta et Hashem Elokecha. Pasuk in the Torah, it says it. It's more important than Shema Yisrael. People struggle doing it. Oh, can you bless for me? Can you do this for me? Can you think about me? Can you think about him too? Can you think about everybody else also? Can you think about me yesterday even though I wasn't here? Is there a shorter version? Yes, there is a shorter version of Birkat HaMazon, but that's assuming you have 3 kids in the house and you don't have time to like sleep, eat, nothing. Like you eat, the burger from last Tuesday, one bite at a time. Why? Because the kids are running around. Then if you're a wife like that, Baruch Hashem, there is a shorter version. But if you have no kids in the house, and even your husband is not there, you're not allowed to have a shorter version. There is no shorter version. People have a hard time with Birkat HaMazon. Why? They already ate. There's no more bribe. There's no more bribe. And they corrupt people. Aside from the fact that there's no more bribe, Birkat HaMazon reminds us of whether you're a corrupt, evil person or not. Why? You just ate a meal the size of your head. You can't say thank you to Hashem Ribono Shel Olam. Hashem created a cow just for you to eat a piece of it. Who knows if anybody ate from this cow other than you? You ate the whole cow. The cow had parents. Those parents had to be together. That seed had to create another cow. It didn't come from an explosion like the atheists believe. It came from a parents. Those parents weren't exactly ecstatic to see the little baby cow go to your plate. So they got sad. Hashem got sad also, but he says that's the point I was created. Created this cow for what? For you to eat this cow one day. Now this cow, you're not going to eat the whole cow. You're not going to enjoy the whole cow. Some of the cow becomes leather. Some of the cow becomes candy. Some of the cow becomes steak. Now the point is, this cow goes to a plant. They kosher it, they salt it, they take the blood out, and so on and so forth. They cut it up, they mark it up by 500,000%. So by the time it arrives at your plate, you've paid a mortgage on it. By the way, finally, it arrived at your plate. You ate the cow, but not the whole cow. You ate a piece of the cow. The rest of the cow, who knows what happened to it? You ate a piece of the cow. And you had a little bit of tomato on the side. That also, the tomato came by itself. Tomato had to be rain. Somebody had to put a seed. Seed had to go into the ground. Miraculously, the seed absorbed the water, pure miracle, completely shriveled to nothing, ruined, and from that came the actual plant. And the plant had somehow, miraculously, enough power to withstand all the damage that happens around it from bugs, from people stepping on it, from all types of, everything, survived, withstood, and accomplished and achieved its purpose to become a plant. Out of that tree, there was a few tomatoes. Somebody went to that tree, took one tomato, brought it to the market. Ooh, for you. And on the other side, what do you have? Oh, you have a drink of water. We think a drink of water by itself. Rain had to come to a whole plant. Why? There's so much pollution in the water. In the world, it has to go to a plant to filter it, to clean it. It says spring water, but it's spring. Yeah, right, spring. They know how to spell spring. There's a spring as an line. The faucet water, the same thing. All of them. What's the pH level? If it's spring, why are you asking what pH level is in there? If it's really spring, it came from some mountain. What pH level? There's no spring, there's no nothing, Abotai. There's just marketing and stickers on the bottles. But, hey, there was work that went into it. Water came to your plate. A nice plastic bottle that's worth half a cent because they're so cheap with the plastic these days. But it arrived. Right. You have a steak, you have a tomato, you have the water. That's not enough. If you're Oneg Shabbat, 27 salads. Tomato was just to make the steak look good. The salads is and the pita. Do you ever think about the pita? Do you ever think about the pita? Whoever said that wheat, some plant that doesn't even look like it's going to do anything in the world, is going to actually become bread? Like, if you ever thought about it, it's the most ludicrous thought in the world to think that that piece of wheat is going to turn into this fluffy bread. If you told me that maybe the apple or the orange or the clementine, that will become bread, logically I could reason why this is soft, maybe, I don't know. They'll put some white on it, bleach on it, make it into bread. But you tell me this little grass thing that's like hard, that's going to become this soft pita? Doesn't make any sense. And how does it become? They take it, they crush it, they this, it arrives on your table, you have nice little soft pita. And then the hummus, you want me to give you the analogy on the hummus, what they do to the hummus with the beans? So by the time you finish, you're really, really hungry and really, really excited, and you're willing to give any blessing in the world. Just give me the food, for heaven's sake, you're making me hungry. Motzi, lo motzi, whatever. Eat the food. No problem. You ate the food, you like the food, you enjoy the food. Say Birkat Hamazon. Rabbi, nafalta alai kaved. Rabbi, no, come on, I'm so heavy right now. Can you do it for me? Think about me. I'm so heavy right now, I just ate this whole steak. You gave me a big steak for the Rab. I don't know, I'm so heavy right now. Can you do bless? Can you think about me when you bless? Can you do it, bless? Can you think about when you bless? What? When you were eating, did you think about me? When you were eating, did you think about me? Why do I have to think about you when I'm blessing? Did you think about me? No, you thought about your fat stomach. Why don't you say thank you to Hashem? Why don't you say thank you to Hashem, you mushchat? Why? You see how ungrateful we are? Why? Every single time Birkat Hamazon comes, if you're not excited for it, that's because you're corrupt. If you're not excited for Birkat Hamazon, that's because you're corrupt. You don't want to say inside, you don't want to say thank you. If you're not excited to say Birkat Hamazon, that means you don't really believe you owe Hashem a gratitude. That's the definition of mushchat, corrupt. Hashem just made all of what I just said to you. And you can't even say thank you for 3 minutes? 4 minutes? An hour it should be. You ate for an hour, you should say thank you for an hour. Hashem didn't ask you to say thank you for an hour. You ate for an hour, say thank you for 3 minutes. That's it. Say thank you. And not only say thank you, guess what? You get a blessing. You get a mitzvah in Shamayim. You create worlds that you're going to benefit from this thank you. Not only does that make you not corrupt, makes you a decent human being, but you actually get rewarded for it. You get actually rewarded for saying thank you. It's the most ludicrous system in the world, but that's how much Hashem loves us. It's ludicrous that we get any reward whatsoever for mitzvot. Ludicrous. We should get nothing. But he still wants to give us. Why? If you could overcome the evil traits that are within you, you deserve a prize. You deserve a prize. Why? Because they're in you. You were brought into this world with them because you're supposed to overcome them. But a person that does not work on overcoming them is going to stay evil, corrupt, despicable, and despisable by all. Not only God, even his own wife will hate him. That's why she divorced him twice. That's why she hates him. That's why his kids hate him. That's why her kids hate her. Why? Because they're corrupt. Corrupt people hate each other. This is one of the main explanations of why the divorce rate is approaching over 85%, and in some cases over 90% in the Western society. People are so despicable and ungrateful, they think that the world owes them something. So as soon as something that does not go according to their plan, the wife does not make the laundry the way they want her to. The wife doesn't cook the food they like. The husband doesn't make the amount of money she's pleased with. The kids don't have the scores that you were expecting from them. The teachers don't teach the strategy that you want to be taught. The coach doesn't yell when he's supposed to and doesn't do this and doesn't do that. And the rabbi doesn't do this and doesn't do that. Immediately people fire people and they take their example from leaders of society like Donald Trump. You're fired, and they think this is like something to be applauded for. I care less about his political position, right, left, and it's indifferent to me. I don't watch, I don't care. But to learn midot from somebody like that, you're bound to be a mushchat. You're bound to be corrupt. You think this is good? To just embarrass people in public? Rabotai Karim, a person needs to know that the blessings, the first one is easy. The second one is critical. Both you have to do. If you accept something without saying thank you, then there's nothing to talk to you about. But after you've enjoyed it, not only you're not going to say thank you, but you're going to return evil instead, this makes a person into someone despicable. This is one of the things that everyone has to learn. Everyone has to think about these things, because if you're not going to say thank you to Hashem for the simple stuff, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it in life. You're not going to be happy with your life. Because the world around you requires you to be grateful. But being grateful is actually the best thing for you. Because a person that's grateful has to admit that he has something, that he received something, that technically nobody owed him. To say thank you to Hashem for bringing back your neshama, if you actually, not just mumbling the words, but you actually think about them, at least at some point during the day, thank you Hashem for bringing me back my neshama. That means that you should think at some point during your life, at least, technically, he didn't have to bring back my neshama. Or actually, he didn't have to bring back my neshama that way. He could have done what he does with other people, where the neshama is there, but the body doesn't recognize it. So the body is simply a plant. It's in a coma. It just sits there and doesn't move. But the neshama knows very, very well it's there. And it's suffering, and it's screaming. It's screaming and yelling to everybody. Neshama doesn't move. Neshama can't move. The body can. But the two don't recognize each other. This is a disaster. A person that does not recognize the fact that Hashem brought him back a neshama and say thank you about it is a person that simply doesn't know what the purpose of life is. Doesn't know that he's supposed to say thank you. Does not appreciate his life. A person that says things like, I didn't ask Hashem to create me. Such a person is as corrupt as can be. So, when it comes to saying thank you, it's something that you need. Because if you're acknowledging that Hashem put that neshama back in your body, you're acknowledging that you have a wife, you're acknowledging that you have a husband, you're acknowledging that you have children, you're acknowledging that you have a job, that you have a house, that you have a life, that you have a little bit of knowledge. You're acknowledging it. You're saying thank you. That already makes you good. But if you don't acknowledge it, you could live your whole life simply clueless about all the gifts that Hashem keeps giving you and thinking that you were shortchanged. Being grateful helps, because if you're grateful, then you could step on to the next step and give. And giving is always something that you're doing for yourself. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, page 156. It says that there was a maaseh, there was something that happened that showed that Am Yisrael is above and beyond mazal, above and beyond fortune. A certain goy that was able to read the stars and do and fortunes was sitting down with Shmuel. And when a few people passed them, a few workers passed by them, the goy said to Shmuel, "You see that one? They're all going to go, but that one's not going to return." He says, why do you say that? He says, "Oh, here's mazal, I see. They're all going to go. But him, a snake is going to bite him and eat him." So Shmuel says, if he's a Jew, everything you said is meaningless. Whatever you read from the stars only applies to Goyim. Doesn't apply to Jews. Because a Jew can do certain things that change the forces of nature. Change the world around them. Says, okay. They all went. Sometime later, they all came back. Immediately the goy couldn't take it. He stopped the guy and said, "Wait, how'd you come back? What'd you do? Let me see the wood that you have." They're all cutting wood. "Let me see." He pushed his bag. All the wood came off, and he saw there's a snake in there, cut in half. Shmuel says to the Jew, "What did you do that was so good that saved your life? What did you do that was good?" He said, "Well, today we were having lunch. Every day we have lunch together. And everybody gets their bread and gets their food and they throw it into the basket together. And then we split it. Each person gets some. So when I saw that one of the guys that usually collects the food from everybody, he didn't have any himself to put into the pie. And I didn't want to cause him any embarrassment. So I said, 'Hey guys, today I'm going to collect. I'll replace you, I'll collect.' And I went around everybody, and when I went to him, I pretended like I took something from him. So nobody says he didn't give. Why should he take? And instead I took from my share and gave more. Just so he doesn't get embarrassed." Shmuel says to him, "You see, you did a big maaseh, you did something good, you gave. But you got something in return. What? Teach everyone, tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Your tzedakah saved your life. But not just mavet meshuneh, like strange death. Actually mavet mamash. You gave, you got something in return. Why? The chidush, Rabotai, that I thought of in its emet, is that you, when you give tzedakah, what are you doing really? First and foremost, you're acknowledging that Hashem gave you the ability to give. That's what we say modeh ani. Modeh ani, the second one, when you say modeh ani Rabbanan, we're thanking Hashem. We're thanking Hashem for what? For being able to say thank you. This is what you say. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא השם אלוקינו, ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי כל בשר יוצרנו יוצר בראשית, ברכות והודעות, לשמך הגדול והקדוש, עד שהחייתנו וקימנו. You're telling Hashem, thank you Hashem. Thank you for what? For allowing us to say thank you. Now, here, when you give, you're thinking, Hashem gave me. You're acknowledging that you received. Not only gave me, He gave me enough to be able to give. Already you've identified two major things, two major gifts. Then you're saying, wait a minute. He doesn't have. If everyone else realizes that he doesn't have, not only does he suffer already enough suffering, a lot of suffering for not having, but he has even more suffering from embarrassment of other people seeing he doesn't have. And embarrassment, Rabotai, is like shfichut damim. It's like death. A person that embarrasses another person in public, it's like he murdered him. So when this person gave to his fellow without anybody knowing, not saying, hey, listen, it's on me. Like one of those people. Hey, it's on me. It's on me. Hey, guys, it's on me. What's on you? His lunch. I bought his lunch. I bought his lunch. It's on me, his lunch. That's not a gift. That's a bigger embarrassment. It's better off you didn't give anything. People that advertise their tzedakah is Hashem Yachem. Don't advertise anything. Don't do anybody any favors. A person that gives, now you've done a few things. What'd you do now? You've now taken away the embarrassment from him. He was going to be embarrassed. Embarrassment is like death. And it says tzedakah tatzil mimavet. So this is one of the rules of the world. Midah keneged midah, measure for measure. You saved him from death. Hashem saves you from death. You saved him from death. Hashem's going to save you from death. Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. You see, Rabotai, Karim, when a person gives, in essence, all he's doing is giving himself. He's giving himself acknowledgement that he has gifts beyond his need. He's giving acknowledgement to Aboreit Barach, to the Creator, that he's acknowledging that he gave him at all. He's giving himself an opportunity to build more good upon this good. And he's also giving himself an opportunity to save his own life by using the good that Hashem gave him to do good. And that is what makes a person good. Any questions? Baruch Hashem, I stopped joking.
I got a question. Nothing related to what you said, but
Thank you.
I know what you said.
Okay, no? Go ahead.
Did you see the rivers turning red in Africa? Malaysia, Africa?
Rivers have been turning red for a long time. It's not not news.
No, but right, I mean, it seems like every time it turns red, it happens on the same part of shore.
Rivers have been turning red for a long time. It's not enough. Nothing new. Doesn't. I mean, it's a. There's
All the Sahara?
all the signs of the plagues. I mean, there's. You could find them in different parts of the world. There is a.
Russia and Malaysia.
Red in oceans in different parts of the world has always been, especially in recent years, where everybody's become a cameraman. We just see much more of it. There's different parts of the world that have infestations of specific types of bugs, like we had in Egypt. There's specific places that suffer from all types of animals and so on. Yeah, I mean, it's a Hashem is definitely giving us signs, but
We always talk about that.
the problem is.
Pay attention whenever something happens.
Right, it's happening in the world. The problem is that paying attention means that we have to do tshuva. Paying attention doesn't mean, oh wow, okay, so what should we do? Should we build a house in the mountains? Should we get guns? The problem is today people misunderstand the paying attention part. People think that, oh, because there's signs that the Mashiach is coming, that means we should all move to Israel. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. If you're going to be less religious over there, it's better if you don't move. If you're going to be more religious there, then it's good that you move. But it's going to create shalom bayit problems, then we're back to not moving. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. People take the signs the wrong way. They misinterpret the signs just like they misinterpret the verses. And that's the problem, is that people think, okay, there's a red cow. Okay, so there's a red cow, and there's a whole organization that is starting a farm of red cows in Israel, the Temple Institute. They started a farm of red cows because they want to find more red cows. But there are certain things that they're doing. This sounds like a noble act, but there are certain things that they're doing that are not exactly, I don't know who gave them the permission to do it, but it's not exactly dat Torah, at least not that I know of, which is that they're starting to bring sacrifices. You're not allowed to bring sacrifices. Not allowed to bring sacrifices. They made themselves like a place to bring sacrifices. Who said you're allowed to bring sacrifices without Bet HaMikdash? So people are taking all of the signs the wrong way. There's only one thing that all of the signs mean. We have to do tshuva. If everything I said in the shiur does not apply to you, you should give the shiur. You should give the shiur. Why? If you're perfectly grateful, you are Mr. Grateful. You say great, you're just Mr. Gratitude, you should give a shiur next week. Why? Because this, Rabotai Karim, applies to 99.999% of people. Even the ones that are grateful can become even more grateful. Just acknowledge more of the creation. So, if it does apply to you, then applying this is going to help you a lot more than any sign. Like people ask all the time, oh, you have a zgula, you have some type of zgula that's going to bring money, that's going to bring zivug, that's going to bring this, that's going to bring that. Yeah, keep Shabbat. No, I already keep Shabbat. Okay, Onek Shabbat. Oh, no, I give Onek Shabbat. Okay, do Kiruv. Oh, you have anything else? Okay, so learn Torah. You have anything else? Like they look at it like it's a supermarket. You have something else? Yeah, you keep giving them something. Basics of Torah. If you just do another mitzvah that you're obligated to do anyway, it's much better than any zgula that you have to do. So yes, all of these signs are exciting, but it's not at the same time. It's exciting that we're seeing them in our life. It's exciting that we're seeing the red cow and the nuclear war already alive and well, and people confused, and rabbis off the derech. It's exciting to see all that stuff, but at the same token, it's a nightmare.
How is that exciting?
It's exciting meaning that you're seeing the prophecies come true. Things that were written 3,000 years ago are coming true, but it's also a nightmare because you're seeing that we're simply not ready. We're simply not ready. Now, if we weren't obligated to expect Mashiach, as one of our 13 principles of faith, I would actually have mass prayers to pray for him not to come. Why? Because if he came tomorrow, we're worse shaped than Egypt. We're worse shaped than Egypt. Rabotai, I'm telling you, every week I see more. I don't know. Every week I see that the conditions are getting worse and worse. There's other information that I wanted to talk to you about, but we're out of time. But the things that are going on today in the world. It's just getting worse and worse in the religious communities, in the non-religious communities. It's at a point where modesty has become pretty much not even a minhag. Not even a minhag. People simply think it's completely irrelevant. Kosher is based on your own definition. Learning Torah whenever you have time. Teaching Torah as long as you like what you teach. Pretty much business, everybody's survival of the fittest. We learned from Darwin. And the thing is, though, is that mamash, every single aspect of our life has Satan mamash in it. Mamash, in it. And you see, it's like, you just don't know. Is anyone going to survive? So it's not something I'm excited for, and I see why the sages said what they said in the Gemara. Said, we want Mashiach to come, just not during our lifetime. Why? It's going to be really, really big tests.
Is it wrong to say that basically to what you just say?
It's what I just. Not in
our lifetime.
That's what it says in the Gemara.
But is it wrong for a regular person? Obviously, people are big.
No, I mean if they said it, we're allowed to repeat it. It's not a let him come not in our lifetime. But the problem is that it's not up to us. We have to be ready regardless. I mean, I always tell people that. They said it. They don't want to come. They don't want the Mashiach to come in their lifetime because they knew that, with or without Mashiach, they did their best. Can we say the same thing? With or without Mashiach, they did their best, which means they gave themselves the best chance to get to Gan Eden. Did we? So, which means that let's say Mashiach doesn't come in our lifetime. Let's say he doesn't. Alvai he does, and Bezrat Hashem he will soon. But let's say he doesn't. Let's say he doesn't. Eventually, we're all going to die. Eventually, the ground that lent us this body is going to want to call the loan. It's going to call the loans. Okay, Yaron Reuven, come back. Department number 6. Let's go. The worms are ready. Lunch. You know that steak you ate? Shh, come. Worms are hungry. Well, each one of these worms is like 3 feet. You ever see meatworms? Scary as can be. Meatworms is worse than the shiur about Gehinom. What happens in the grave? Shem Hayachem. The first time I saw it, I almost wanted to vomit. Scary as can be. Anyway, Rabotai, it's good. You need to know these things because it makes you realize that you have no reason to be arrogant at all because they're about to eat you at some point in 70, 80, 90, 120 years. Now, at some point, the ground's going to call the loan. Body has to come back. Neshama, after it goes through what it has to go through here, it goes up to Shemaim. Bedin. They're going to ask you, were you grateful? No! Why weren't you grateful? He gave you 6 jokes in the shiur. You weren't even grateful for the jokes. You weren't even grateful for the jokes. You weren't grateful? Where are you going to be? What hole you want to bury yourself in? Doesn't matter Mashiach, no Mashiach. That's the thing. That's why I'm baffled that everyone assumes they're going to live to see Mashiach. Everyone assumes that they're first in line in Gan Eden. Assumes that they're there. No, sure. You know how much money I gave? How much? I gave a lot. How much? I gave. Did you give 20%? What 20? 20 of what? 20, what do you mean 20% of what? Did you give 10% of what? 20, give me the definition of 10%. Is it after taxes? Is it after expenses, including the vacation to Bahamas? Is it after the third, fourth, and fifth card that I don't need? Can I use the tuition for my kids as maaser also? And all of a sudden the maaser has its own QuickBooks, has its own accountant. Why? Every expense under the sun goes under the 10%, and by the time you have money left, like, here, Rabbi, maaser kvod harav, maaser, $12.37. Chazaku baruch kvod harav. Chazaku, I love the shiur. Go. Use that money for Kiruv, kvod harav. Use the whole thing for Kiruv. What, you mean the whole $12? The whole thing? No, nothing for myself. Chas v'shalom, not for myself. The whole $12 for Kiruv. Maaser kvod harav. Yeah, but you made $150,000 last month. Yeah, I have expenses. So, seventh joke. And so now you have to understand. Were you good? If you were good, then you have something to build on. But if a person is not even the minimum of a decent human being, Mashiach, no Mashiach, nothing's going to help them. Nothing's going to help them. That's the thing. So signs or no signs, people should be worried about dying. If you're not worried about dying, you're going to forget how to live. This is why in our entire Torah, every major person that ever lived, it's mentioned in the Torah, talks about death. Every one of them. Moshe Rabbeinu, all the way to David HaMelech. Prophets, all of them. Every one of them talks about death. Why? They were all scared of eventually having to pay the bill. What bill? The tzaddikim. Exactly. That's what makes them tzaddikim. If you're worried about dying, you'll know how to live. You'll know that you can and can't do certain things. Somebody came to Rav Dessler alav shalom. Said, Kvod Harav, are you one of those, fire, brimstone, musar speakers? Rav Dessler alav shalom says to him, and what's wrong exactly with fire, brimstone? If you're scared of the fire, you simply won't sin. What's the problem with fire, brimstone, mister? You see, Rabotai, people are scared of the truth. Why? Because they don't want to do tshuva. And they're scared of it. Why? Because tshuva obligates you to, number one, acknowledge your flaws. Number two, change them. And if a person is going to focus on the ikar, on the most important, on the necessary, of course he has to change. Even the walls have to change. I have people that I sent them Kiruv packages 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and Baruch Hashem, they've changed. Some more, some less, but everybody had to change to some degree. You can't have an abundance of Torah and stay the same animal. You can't. You can't continue watching these shurim, coming to the shurim, and stay the same nothing. Can't. You have to change. It's a constant reminder, sometimes with 7 jokes, sometimes without. Point is, it's a reminder. So I wouldn't really worry so much about all the signs in the world. Personally, I would worry about dying.
You should pay attention.
Pay attention. No, you should pay attention to everything. You should pay attention to whether you got a flat tire or not. But the key is to make sure to pay attention to ourselves, whether we are actually doing enough. If we die today, every person should think about this. I know this sounds morbid, and this doesn't sound like a pleasing thought, but every person should think every day, if I die today, chas v'shalom, tfu tfu tfu, all that stuff. If I die today, am I going to Gan Eden or not? If I was the judge of me. Not if Hashem is the judge of me, Hashem Yerachem. Judge of me, David HaMelech says, Hashem, don't bring back my past. What past? He made one sin in his life. Don't bring back my past, Hashem. Don't, because no one's going to pass if you judge everything. David HaMelech is scared. We're saying, no, you judge yourself. If you judged yourself, would you allow yourself based on the law? You know the law. You have a law. Now you're just creating a law in Shamayim. You have a law. You're going to read the law to yourself, let's say. Let's just say hypothetical. We're talking 8 joke. Hypothetical. Now, you have the law, you have a Sefer Torah. Hashem says, no. Go ahead. Read the law to yourself and let me know what you think of you. Are you going to let yourself into Gan Eden?
No.
And Rabotai, I'll give you a chidush worth $1 million. That's exactly what happens in Shamayim. After Hashem shows a person everything that they did, but not shows them in their eyes, He puts them back into the body, shows them as if they're doing it. You know Hashem is right there watching you, but you still have to make the sin. You still have to make the sin, but you know Hashem is watching you, and you still do it. You're still making the sin. And Hashem says, nothing. He's looking at you. That's what you do. No, Hashem, I don't mean to, but you're doing it. I don't mean to, but I'm doing it. The neshama suffers so much from this embarrassment of Hashem watching it sin throughout its entire life. At the end of the 12 months, the neshama itself says, Hashem, please send me to Gehenom. The neshama asks for it. Why? Because the neshama knows gratitude is something we didn't possess during our life. This, Rabotai, is why we have to be grateful. We have to be grateful for every single day. Because every day gives us an opportunity to do tshuva. Every day gives us an opportunity to say thank you to Hashem. Every day gives us an opportunity to say thank you to our lovely wife, to put clothes in our shower even though she didn't have to. Every day we have to say thank you to our husbands for working so hard even though they didn't make any money this week. And every day we have to say thank you to our kids for even being alive, because not everybody has kids, and for breaking half the house because not everybody has a house. And you remind me that I have a house, so you broke half the house. I remember that. If you didn't break the house, who's going to remember I have a house? And every day we have to thank our boss for giving us a job, because they don't have to. There's 7.5 billion people in the world they could have given the job to, but they gave it to you. And every day you have to say thank you to the teller who gave you food. The Chafetz Chaim says that a person should say thank you to a person because he saved his life. What do you mean? I just bought a chocolate bar. Yeah, but if you didn't, maybe you would have died. Thank Hashem. Thank Hashem for giving you the undesirable desires, like hunger. If you didn't know when you're hungry, then simply after 3 days you just die. Why? Because your body needs to eat. If Hashem didn't give you the undesirable desire of hunger, what would happen? You just sit there for 3 days, dead. Why? You don't eat for 3 days, you die. If He didn't give you the undesirable desire of thirst, couple of days, bye-bye. If He didn't give you the undesirable desire of pain, you think pain's a bad thing? Pain's a wonderful thing. It's a reminder you have a body. You know some people have a disease. They don't feel pain. It's a nerve disease. Mehmet. And they say when they grow up, if they make it, their childhood was a nightmare. Why? There was one woman said the story. She said, my child was a nightmare. Why? Constantly I would get hurt, blood everywhere, but I'd never feel any pain. One time my arm was in fire as a kid. And I didn't do anything because I didn't know there was something wrong with it until my parents took me out of the fire. Because I didn't feel pain. But by the time they took me out, the bone was showing. You think pain's a bad thing? Pain's a wonderful thing. Shtabach Shemo Lahad for pain, you should say. Why? It reminds you have a body. It reminds you have a body. You have teeth, you have eyes, you have arms, you have whatever's hurting you. Hashem's reminding you, my dear son. Remember I gave that to you? Did you say thank you? Oh, okay, now you're going to say thank you. Now you're going to say thank you. Everything in the world is something you should say thank you for. Your problems, say thank you. The good things, say thank you. The bad things or the things you think are bad, say thank you. Why? There has to be something good. Or else it would simply not exist. Even the Yetzirah has something good. What? He's the pressure. Without him, there's no free choice. Without him, there's no Gan Eden. There's no point to life. If there was no Yetzirah, there would be no resistance. You would have no evil inclination. You would have no inclination to do anything wrong. There would simply be no point of you. Now, I'm not going to say, Yetzirah, come to my house, we'll have dinner together, I love you. No! But even that, a person needs to say, wait a minute. Shtabach Shemo, even the Yetzirah, that Hashem himself calls him Ra, it's still good. Even the Ra is still good. That's how good Hashem is. And when Hashem is so good, the least we should do is thank him. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen.